Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Saturday, November the 11th is race number 8 at Aqueduct. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Red Smith Handicap. We're going 1 3/8 miles on the turf. For free Formulator past performances of this race, please visit the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. We'll take this field in post position order, Mike, and we'll begin with the number 1 St. Louis, who is trained by Michael Maker, who I believe won this race last year with Bigger Picture, right. And St. Louis just another in a long line of Michael Maker claimed horses that ended up earning black type going long on the turf.
Yeah, this one got some black type. He's one of the rare ones that Maker claimed actually couldn't win a stakes race with, but he's really improved this horse. Listen, he's a really nice horse. I think he's in a little too tough in a race like this one, but it is Maker with a horse with a very good post and with some speed. Don't be surprised to find this horse going right to the top in this race and trying to take him an awful long way. He's a dead game horse when you challenge him in the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. Don't be fooled by his running line from his last race where he came from fairly far off the pace from him to win. This is a horse that ran so well in the Kentucky Turf Cup, I thought, two starts back. That was hotter than it looked pace on paper, and he was battling all the way down to the wire. Drawing the inside in this 3-ish turn test, he's going to show speed.
Yeah, I think he is. I think you might see him right on the lead in this race.
Chad Brown won this race 2 years ago, I believe, with Mr. Maybe. He has 2 in here. Money Multiplier, a horse who's dropping out of some Grade 1 races. This horse was good enough to compete in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. He's only had 3 starts in 2017. He got a very late start. What happened last time in the Turf Classic? Because he just seemed very eager in the early portion of the race, wouldn't settle down, and by the time he did, he didn't fire.
Yeah, he didn't. That's true. I will just point out, it was a very disappointing performance for him, but it was also a day the course is listed as firm. It was not firm turf that day, and he just
hates it.
Doesn't like it if it's not firm. So I guess I'll give him that excuse. Listen, he's the horse to beat in this race. I just think they have him to beat. He will get a good trip in this race, and he will get the distance. There's just plenty of things to like about him. I just happen not to be his biggest fan, and I never want to take a short price on this horse. But I have no illusions about who the horse to beat is, and it's him.
Yeah, I agree. 5-2 on the morning line. He's the morning line chalk. The 2, Money Multiplier. The 3 is Get Jets, and Get Jets has been quite a revelation since being switched to turf by trainer Tony Dutrow. He beat Call Provision, who's also in this field in his most recent start, the Ashley T. Cole. Now, Tony Dutrow skipped the Mohawk, a race where he probably would have been the favorite, if not the second choice, against fellow New York Reds to run in this race. And the reason, Dutrow said, is he wanted to stretch this horse out in distance. On figs, on form, he looks like he's a main contender. The distance does worry me, though.
Me too. There's nothing to really knock about what he's done since they switched him over to grass. It's the surface that he's bred for, and he's really improved on it. And now we'll just see if he can stretch out again and win. Because listen, Tony's been doing a great job of stretching him out incrementally, and he's been handling each new distance. Call Provision, the horse that he beat last time by a nose, back in this field, a very good horse and a contender in this race. This horse, it was a close finish. This horse beat him fair and square last time. He had a little bit of a jump on him, but they basically hooked up through the stretch. And this horse out-finished him. He was dead game to win last time.
Memories of Peter broke a 2-year losing streak last time out and going gate to wire over a good turf course at Belmont at 1.25 miles. He does have a little bit of speed, but this is a pretty big ask stepping up in class.
Yeah, I like Memories of Peter a lot as a horse. I just don't like him in races like this.
Oscar nominated, like the 1 St. Louis, is trained by Michael Maker. He is a hard hitter. He's banked almost $1.3 million and is a graded stakes winner. And last time out, he just got the softest of turf courses in the Canadian International and a horse, Bullard's Alley, that freaked over it.
Everybody behind Bullard's Alley gets the excuse for that race. As far as Oscar nominated is concerned, though, seems like he just went out there and ran his typical race anyway. I mean, that's what he does. He's another one of those horses he's been keeping really good company, and he can obviously win this race. I'm just not a huge fan of his. He probably won't be that much of a price in here. He can win. I'm not going to bet him.
Expect a buyer between 95 and 99. That's what he seems to run each and every time. Sometimes it's good enough. Let's take a look at the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector. We talked about the 1 St. Louis perhaps being out there. A little bit surprising that we have him in 5th from Timeform U.S. I would expect him to be a lot closer. It'll be interesting to see what Edgar Prado does with the 7 Spring Quality. This is a horse that is yet to win on turf. He's only raced once on the surface. That was last time out in 1 mile and an 1/8 race. He is stretching out, but do you think he's going to show this kind of speed?
I would be surprised if he was on the lead. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what they'll wind up doing with him, but I just don't see that kind of speed from this horse. And I know it's a longer distance kind of race. I still can't imagine he'll be on the lead in this race. And we'll just see if he can improve enough to beat this field because he really does have to improve to win.
I thought he did do some okay things in that Knickerbocker, and he did have some excuses. He was about 4 wide on the turn. That turf course was less than firm, and this is a horse that's really bred to go long on the turf. He's a half, I think, the Holiday Star, who was really a long-winded horse, I believe, for these connections. So I'm not going to give up on this horse just yet. First turf start, 96 Beyer, lightly raced. Maybe we can see a little bit of improvement. The 8 is Soluble, and I know you're a little bit of a fan of Soluble, who continues to race in solid form for Bob Roboto. Third last time out behind a sharp horse, Roman Approval, a horse that came back to run second behind Call Provision, earning a 99 Beyer speed figure. But is he good enough to win a stakes race, a graded stakes like this?
I don't think he is. I was actually surprised to see him in here. Not that he's not in good form, because he has his race 2 starts back against Call Provision was actually a pretty good performance, but he was never going to beat that horse that day. And as well as I thought he ran last time, he was never going to win that race either. I'm just surprised that he's in here. I'm a fan of his. I just don't like him in this kind of a race.
Jimmy Toner has done such a wonderful job with Hunter O'Reilly. He just turned this horse's form completely around enough to win the Grade 2 Bowling Green at Saratoga, going 1 mile and 3/8. And this horse was charging in the Sword Dancer, got beat less than 2 lengths by Sadler's Joy. He's had foot problems throughout his career. He's been away for a little while. Toner's had to sort of start and stop and start and stop. This horse needs pace, though. He is, on his best day, certainly capable of winning this race.
Absolutely he is. If he runs his best race, as a matter of fact, he'll probably be a handful in here. He does need a little bit of pace. Maybe he'll get it. We'll see. It's funny. I know he won the Bowling Green 2 starts back at this distance. I still feel like he wants to go even longer than
I think he's a 2-mile horse.
Yeah, he won that race just because, the Sadler's Joy actually set it up really well for him with an early move.
Right, the last run was
the race kind of collapsed, and he had sort of the run of that race. But still, I mean, it's just pretty easy to look at him on paper and say, man, if he runs his best race, he's tough in here.
Call Provision, Chad Brown, Arad Ortiz, as we said, nipped by Get Jets in the Ashley T. Cole, came back a month later, won an optional claimer, 100 Beyer speed figure. We know he likes to lag either in mid-pack or further behind, but when you wheel him out on the stretch, it's a fairly electric late kick this horse possesses.
Well, that was some run he put in last time. Listen, Roman Approval's probably not a true graded stakes horse, but he's pretty good, and he was just rolling along all alone on the lead last time. There was one horse closing in the stretch of that race, and it was this horse from last to first. He was awful good last time, stepping up at the right time, stretching out in distance has really done this horse some good. Boy, I'm not going to be surprised if he wins this race. He's in very good form.
Tricked up the number 11, well off the claim, was kind of thrown to the wolves in the Turf Classic at 168 to 1. You should rightly draw a line through that race, and when you do, you're left with a beat and a 50,000 non-winners of 3 life.
Yeah, I didn't like this horse when Chad had him, and I don't like him now.
We're going to try to take a shot against Money Multiplier because while we agree he's the horse to beat, we've never been big fans. So as we take a look at our selections for the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day, you have to tell us a little bit about Messi. And Messi, listen, has had excuses for several races recently.
Yeah, I probably should have taken a shot against Money Multiplier with his stablemate Call Provision. That's what I initially wanted to do. I just feel like I have to give Messi one more chance. Obviously, we already talked about that Canadian International a little bit on that boggy turf course where they just sent this horse along to the lead. It was weird to see him do it. I actually wouldn't have minded it if it was a kind of turf course that I felt like he might like, but it didn't work out, so I don't really care about that race. His race is 2 and 3 back. I just feel like he ran well enough to win both of those races. He just didn't get the right kind of trip either time. Post 12's no bargain for him. We'll see what happens then. I'm not totally sold on him. He's going to be a price in this race, though, and I do think his last few races are better than they look. I got to give him one more chance at this price.
We watched his race at Saratoga. I think it was opening day, where he just got shuffled all the way back to last on the rail. Really had nowhere to go in the stretch, had to alter course back to the rail in late stretch, and he was just eating up ground in a race where there was just no pace whatsoever. And we were excited to see what we were going to get in the Northern Dancer, realizing it seemed like a tough spot on paper, and then yet again, buried down on the rail, behind traffic, couldn't get out, and as you said, the Canadian International was just a ground-induced fluke for Billard's Alley, and he had no chance, Messi, over that surface. He's very dangerous. You're going 12, 10, 3, and 2. I want to see if Spring Quality runs to his long-winded turf pedigree. He's lightly raced. I think we've seen the best of Messi. I think we've seen the best of horses like Money Multiplier. I'm not 100%. Sure we've seen Spring Quality's best, and while I don't think he's going to be on the lead like the pace projector has him, I think he'll be right there. Second or third, getting the jump on these horses, turning into the stretch. He's 12 to 1 in the line. I'll take a shot with Spring Quality, 7, 9, 10, 5 for me in the Grade 3 Red Smith. If you're betting the Aqueduct Saturday card from home, Please use DRF Bets when you sign up at drf.com/fall and use the promo code FALL300. You'll immediately be granted a $300 sign-up bonus. You can start playing right away. Approximate post time for the Red Smith Handicap, 3:47 Eastern. Race number 8 at the Big A on Saturday. Good luck.